So I have with today Professor Dominic Parish from Macquarie University, and Dominic's the Pro Vice Chancellor Learning and Teaching down there, and is also the recent past president of Ascolite. So many of you will be very familiar with Dom. Dom, how is your technology enhanced learning governed at Macquarie, and kind of what role do you play in that?
So Michael, all of our learning is governed at Macquarie by our Academic Senate. But we also have guidance from our operating plan, which has in actual fact been recently released. So the operating plan is scheduled to run from 2020 to 2024. And that has been finalised, I guess you might say, in July. So we're currently embarking on how we're going to fulfil some of the aspirations of that operating plan. There's also, the end of last year, I finalised and had endorsed and released our Learning and Teaching Strategic Framework 2020 to 2024. And that also obviously guides what we are doing with respect to learning and teaching in delivered as a technology format, or digital, we're calling it. My role in the technology enhanced learning at Macquarie is really to, I'm responsible for the digital strategy. I'll lead the development and the implementation of a cross-institutional digital strategy that will be governing academic program delivery. That will need to be obviously informed by current research. And we also want our digital strategy to reflect the uniqueness of Macquarie, because of course Macquarie is predominantly a campus-based university. You know, we have one campus. We are very proud of that campus. We have a wonderful vibe. You know, we already have quite a number of students back on campus now, because that's how our students feel most connected to us. So we need to be, you know, my digital strategy needs to also reflect that very unique culture and brand of Macquarie University. I'm also responsible for staff professional development. So in the remit of technology enhanced learning, that's my responsibility to map out and operationalise the delivery of our staff development with respect to technology enhanced learning. And I'm also responsible for working with our IT department, and I work very closely with our CIO to identify technologies that we need to procure to enable our staff and our students to be engaged in the most contemporary learning and teaching possible in a digital space.
So there's a governance committee that says, oh, here's this new tool, it's going to be really good. So, I mean, somebody in the academic group says, or faculty says, oh, I want to use this tool. How does that tool get into production, is in a sense?
Yep. So I can use actually a recent example, our ePortfolio that we just procured at the beginning of this year and we're rolling out now. That had, we sent out an invite to executive deans to identify the technologies that they believed they needed immediately and into the future. We looked at those lists and we decided what was going to be, you know, our first technology to purchase, which was an ePortfolio system. And so then we needed to go to the executive group. So from that perspective, the executive group are the ones who either approve or don't approve a technology being purchased.
Sure.
Then we work very closely with procurement. We go through a very detailed procurement process, and we ensure that in that procurement process, we do include representatives from every faculty so that we have that faculty buy-in, but also, you know, we undertake to make sure that we're delivering a product that is going to be suitable for all faculties and for all of their needs.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, technology has come such a long way, as you know. You know, you would have for the time you've been in Escalite and now ACODE and things like that, we've just gone forward in leaps and bounds, all the different types of tools. What's a kind of your thinking about how this is going to evolve over the next 3 to 5 years? Well, one at Macquarie, but also, across the sector.
Well, for me, that there is a real need, and I hope there will be an increasing desire to ensure quality. And as you know, I've been engaged for the last 3 years in trying to design a tool that can assess the quality of the design of online learning, because online learning, I think, has two elements to it. It's got the design and then it's got the delivery. And, while the design is a good affordance for quality online, the facilitation of quality online learning, of course it is the delivery that is going to be the catalyst to that quality experience. So I would like to see an investment in the quality of what we deliver. I know that, some of the things I've read about the pivoting that needed to happen in session 1 or at the beginning of the year across the sector, not only in Australia, but globally, there has been a sense that students maybe did not get the best quality experience as they may have on campus. Well, from universities in particular who don't necessarily have a strong online learning presence. But, this is a really opportune time for us to start addressing how we deliver online learning and make sure that there is that quality element to it. I also want to see a fit for purpose over the next 3 to 5 years. So, using our online learning environments, I think the balance between a physical and a digital delivery, it needs to be fit for purpose. So, there isn't always going to be a need for a possibility for us to be able to deliver everything we do in a teaching perspective online. We need to modify our pedagogy, obviously, to be able to deliver a quality online experience. And there are some things that will probably never be fruitfully delivered in an online presence. Yeah. So I'm really trying to push our staff to think about what can be delivered online, but also what needs to be really facilitated in that physical space.
Yes. I mean, some people hold out hopes for like AR and VR and things like that. Is that feasible?
I think it is, but I think sometimes, the conversations that I've been in, and particularly at our Escalite conferences and, the engagements that I've had with different stakeholders right across the sector, at different forums, there is this tendency to choose technologies that are really quirky and, what a great technology, rather than thinking first about what it is we want to deliver and how it needs to be delivered, the most pedagogically appropriate way to deliver that. And we use our technology to enhance the learning, which is, the essence of the name of technology enhanced learning is about enhancing the learning, not making the technology the center of the learning, forgetting about the pedagogy that sits underneath it. And the other thing I will say about my vision is that I really want this sector to start to come to respect technology enhanced learning as a legitimate teaching endeavour. I'm surprised at how often comments are made about staff workload and the opportunities to maybe decrease staff's workload because they can deliver in an online space. There's got to be a respect for technology enhanced learning, and if it's done and done well, it will be as much of an impost on the workload as a physical class will be.
Cool. So one of the big hopes for technology enhanced learning, I mean, I've been in it quite a while, as you have, probably not as long as me, but is that, that technology would provide some kind of democratization to learning and kind of release the world to be able to get into education more and things like that. How do you see that happening with technology enhanced learning over the next while? Is it or is human beings just too selfish? What's the...
Look, I think it opens up opportunities for people who may otherwise not have been able to access learning, to be able to access learning. We're seeing even in underdeveloped countries, there's been uptake of online learning, which is really, it's affirming and very exciting. I think the MOOC movement, when we first saw that come to the forefront, there was such an uptake on that. People did enroll, and yes, they maybe didn't complete, but there were also people who dived in and dived out, and completion maybe isn't always the measure of success. I think sometimes when we see that people are interested and they are engaging, even if it is just for part of the learning that's been provided, they may be getting out of that what they want. And I think that this technology enhanced learning moving forward is going to really enable people to access what they need for their personal circumstances, which is really exciting. I think we are going to see an increase in our sort of untraditional students. I think that these, and we've seen reports come out of Deloitte's and PwC about our study interested workers and their desire to do things like upskill and improve their CV and prepare themselves for the next career move they want to make, or just out of interest. And I'm also interested, by this notion of the next generation, what is it? The University of the...
New Age?
That's it. I mean, my own parents who are in their 80s, I'm encouraging them to do things like MOOCs that could be of interest of them. And it's really great to see them who, otherwise may not be exercising their brains as much, engaging in these sorts of online opportunities and really, getting something out of it. They've got something to talk about when I'm talking to them, which is, I think that's
That's cool. So any last inspirational thoughts you'd like to share?
I think that one thing I haven't sort of touched on that I have found really informative is the work that we've done, I've done through the instigation of TELAS and also at Macquarie at the beginning of this year, in asking students what they want from their online learning. And I've been super surprised about how low the bar is in terms of expectations from students.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the bells and whistles. They don't want the fancy designs and, the out of the box or out of the square type of activities. They actually really, really want engagement in an online environment with their teachers and their peers. And recurringly, I hear that that's what they're not getting. Do think that, as a final inspirational thought, if we could start thinking about how in that online environment we can engage with our students, we can make them feel like we are present in their learning, even if it isn't in an online environment, I think will go a long way to meeting their expectations and delivering a quality experience for them. And also aligned with that is facilitating opportunities for them to engage with their peers.
Nice. Cool. Excellent. So look, thanks so much, Dom, for sparing some time to chat with us. I really appreciate it. And,
my pleasure, Michael.
All the best day down there.
Thanks.